WWE superstar Roman Reigns. Leati Joseph Jey Anoa'i, born 25 May 1985, is an American professional wrestler and former football player. He is currently signed to WWE, where he performs on the SmackDown brand under the ring name Roman Reigns. He is the current and longest reigning WWE Universal Champion in his second reign, as well as the current WWE Champion in his fourth reign, making him WWE's undisputed World Champion. He is a member of wrestling's Anoa'i family, which also includes his father Sika Anoa'i, brother Rosey, and cousins Jey Uso, Jey Uso, Rikishi, Solo Sikoa, the Tonga Kid, Yokozuna, and Umaga. After playing college football for Georgia Tech, Anoa'i started his professional football career with brief off-season stints with the Minnesota Vikings and Jacksonville Jaguars of the National Football League (NFL) in 2007. He then played a full season for the Canadian Football League's CFL Edmonton Eskimos in 2008 before his release and retirement from football. He then pursued a career in professional wrestling and was signed by WWE in 2010, reporting to their developmental territory Florida Championship Wrestling (FCW). Under the ring name Roman Reigns, he made his main roster debut in November 2012 alongside Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins as the Shield. The trio teamed together until June 2014, after which Reigns entered singles competition. Reigns is a six-time world champion in WWE, having held the WWE Championship 4 times and the WWE Universal Championship twice. In 2022, he became the longest reigning Universal Champion at 750+ days, which is recognized as the 6th longest World Championship reign in the promotion's history. He is also a one-time WWE United States Champion, a one-time WWE Intercontinental Champion, a one-time WWE Tag Team Champion with Rollins, the 2015 Royal Rumble winner, and the 2014 Superstar of the Year. He tied the WWE record for most eliminations in a Survivor Series match with 4 in the 2013 event, and also previously held the record for most eliminations in a Royal Rumble match with 12 in the 2014 event. Upon winning the Intercontinental Championship, he became the 20th Triple Crown Champion and the 17th Grand Slam Champion. Reigns has headlined numerous pay-per-view events, including WWE's flagship event WrestleMania 6 times, 31, 32, 33, 34, 37, and 38. Additionally, Reigns was ranked number 1 in Pro Wrestling Illustrated's annual PWI 500 list of the top 500 singles wrestlers in 2016 and 2022. From 2014 onwards, WWE attempted to establish Reigns as their next face of the company, positioning him as a heroic character, which was met with intense disapproval by audiences and critics. However, following his return in August 2020, Reigns was repackaged as a new villainous character, the Tribal Chief, which has generally been met with acclaim by fans and critics alike. His revamped persona was named Best Gimmick by the Wrestling Observer newsletter in 2021. Early life. Leati Joseph Anoa'i was born in Pensacola, Florida, on 25 May 1985. He is of Alberice, English, Italian, and Samoan descent. Both his father Sika and his brother Rosey, 1970 to 2017, were professional wrestlers. As a member of the Anoa'i family, he is a cousin to former professional wrestlers Yokozuna, 1966 to 2000, Rikishi, Umaga, 1973 to 2009, the Tonga Kid, and first cousin once removed to the Usos and The Rock, non-biological. Anoa'i attended Pensacola Catholic High School and Escambia High School, before going on to major in management at the Georgia Institute of Technology. Football career. Anoa'i played football for 3 years at Pensacola Catholic High School and 1 year at Escambia High School. In his senior year, he was named Defensive Player of the Year by the Pensacola News-Journal. While at the Georgia Institute of Technology, he was a member of the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets football team along with Calvin Johnson, who later became a wide receiver in the National Football League, NFL. Anoa'i was a 3-year starter beginning in his sophomore year and was also one of the team captains as a senior. He was named to the first-team All-Atlantic Coast Conference (ACC) in 2006 and earned All-ACC first-team honors with 40 tackles, 2 recovered fumbles and 4.5 sacks. After going undrafted in the 2007 NFL Draft, Anoa'i was signed by the Minnesota Vikings in May 2007. He was diagnosed with leukemia after his team physical and was released later that month. The Jacksonville Jaguars signed him in August 2007, only to release Anoa'i less than a week later before the start of the 2007 NFL season. In 2008, he was signed by the Edmonton Eskimos of the Canadian Football League, CFL. Wearing the number 99, Anoa'i played for 1 season with the Eskimos, featuring in 5 games, of which he started 3. Anoa'i's most notable game came against the Hamilton Tiger Cats in September, where he tied for the team lead with 5 tackles and had a forced fumble. Anoa'i was released by the Eskimos on 10th November and proceeded to retire from professional football. Professional wrestling career. Anoa'i signed a contract with WWE in 2010 and was later assigned to their developmental territory Florida Championship Wrestling, FCW. He made his televised debut on 19 August 2010, using the ring name Roman Leaki in a 15-man battle royal, which was won by Alex Riley. On 16 January 2011 episode of FCW, Leaki was a competitor in a 30-man Grand Royal, but was eliminated. Later in 2011, Leaki formed a tag team with Donnie Marlowe and the pair unsuccessfully challenged Calvin Reigns and Biggie Langston for the FCW Florida Tag Team Championship on 8 July. In January 2012, Leaki pinned FCW Florida Heavyweight Champion Leo Kruger in a non-title match. 29, on 5th February episode of FCW, he defeated Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins in a triple threat match to become the #1 contender to the FCW Florida Heavyweight Championship. 30, he failed to win the championship when he lost to Kruger the following week. Leaki later won the FCW Florida Tag Team Championship with Mike Galtoman would drop the titles to CJ Parker and Jason Jordan shortly after. After WWE rebranded FCW to NXT in August 2012, Anoa'i, with the new ring name of Roman Reigns and a villain character, made his debut on 31st October episode of NXT by defeating CJ Parker. Roman Reigns made his main roster television debut as on 18th November 2012 at the Survivor Series pay-per-view event alongside Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, assaulting Ryback during the triple threat main event for the WWE Championship, allowing CM Punk to retain the title, thus establishing themselves as villains. The trio declared themselves the Shield and vowed to rally against injustice, while also denying working for Punk, even though they would routinely emerge from the crowd to attack Punk's adversaries, including Ryback and WWE Tag Team Champions Team Hell No, Daniel Bryan and Kane. This led to a 6-man tag team tables, ladders, and chairs match at TLC, Tables, Ladders and Chairs on 16th December, in which Reigns, Ambrose and Rollins defeated Team Hell No and Ryback in their debut match. The Shield continued to aid Punk in January 2013, attacking both Ryback and The Rock. On 28th January episode of Raw, it was revealed that Punk and his manager Paul Heyman had been paying The Shield and Brad Maddox to work for them. The Shield then indistinctly ended their association with Punk while beginning a feud with John Cena, Ryback and Sheamus that directed to a six-man tag match on 17th February at Elimination Chamber, which The Shield won. The Shield then made their WrestleMania debut, where they defeated Sheamus, Randy Orton and Big Show at WrestleMania 29 in April. The following night on Raw, The Shield attempted to attack The Undertaker, but they were stopped by Team Hell No. This set up a six-man tag team match on 22nd April episode of Raw, which The Shield won. On 13th May episode of Raw, The Shield's undefeated streak in televised six-man tag team matches ended in a disqualification loss in an elimination tag team match against Cena, Kane and Bryan. On 19th May at Extreme Rules, Reigns and Rollins defeated Team Hell No in a Tornado Tag Team match to win the WWE Tag Team Championship. On 14th June episode of SmackDown, The Shield were given their first decisive loss in televised six-man tag team matches at the hands of Team Hell No and Randy Orton, when Bryan submitted Rollins. Reigns and Rollins defeated Bryan and Orton at Payback on 16th June to retain the WWE Tag Team Championship. Further successful title defenses followed against the Usos, Jey Uso and Jey Uso, at Money in the Bank on 14th July and the Primetime Players, Darren Young and Titus O'Neil, at Night of Champions on 15th September. In August, The Shield began working for Chief Operating Officer Triple H and The Authority. Their association with The Authority led them to begin a rivalry with Cody Rhodes and Goldust. At Battleground on 6th October, Reigns and Rollins lost to Rhodes and Goldust in a non-title match. Reigns and Rollins lost the tag team titles to Rhodes and Goldust in a no disqualification match on 14th October episode of Raw, following interference from Big Show. At Hell in a Cell on 27th October, Reigns and Rollins failed to regain the championship in a triple threat tag team match. 64. At Survivor Series on 24th November, The Shield teamed with Antonio Cesaro and Jack Swagger to take on Rey Mysterio, the Usos, Cody Rhodes and Goldust in a traditional Survivor Series match. Reigns would win the match for his team. At TLC, Tables, Ladders and Chairs on 15th December, The Shield were defeated by CM Punk in a 3-on-1 handicap match after Reigns accidentally speared Ambrose. At the Royal Rumble on 26th January 2014, Reigns entered the Royal Rumble match at number 15 and went on to eliminate 12 competitors in the match, a record that was later broken by Braun Strowman. In 2018, Reigns would be the runner-up in the match after being lastly eliminated by Batista. The next night on Raw, The Shield competed in a six-man tag team match against Daniel Bryan, Sheamus and John Cena, with all three members of the winning team qualifying for the Elimination Chamber match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, which The Shield lost via disqualification after the Wyatt family interfered and attacked Cena, Bryan and Sheamus. A six-man tag team match pitting The Shield against the Wyatt family on 24th February at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view was arranged, in which The Shield lost after Ambrose abandoned the match midway through. In March, The Shield came out to seemingly attack Jerry Lawler, only to attack Kane instead, turning all three men face in the process. This led to a match between The Shield and Kane and the New Age Outlaws, Billy Gunn and Road Dogg, at WrestleMania XXX on 6th April, which The Shield won. The feud with Kane also prompted The Shield to sever ties with Triple H, who reformed Evolution to counteract them. The Shield then defeated Evolution at both Extreme Rules on 4th May and Payback on 1st June. On the Raw following Payback, Rollins turned on The Shield and aligned himself with Triple H and The Authority. Following Rollins' betrayal, Reigns would briefly continue teaming with Ambrose, before embarking on a singles run and being quickly placed into world title contention. After winning a battle royal, Reigns was inserted into a ladder match for the vacant WWE World Heavyweight Championship at Money in the Bank on 29th June. However, the match was won by John Cena. His second consecutive pay-per-view main event was at Battleground on 20th July, where Reigns again challenged for the title, this time in a fatal four-way match involving Cena, Kane and Randy Orton, which Cena again won. Following the event, Reigns began a feud with Orton, culminating in a match at SummerSlam on 17th August, which Reigns won. The next month, a singles match was set up between Reigns and Rollins for Night of Champions on 21st September, but Reigns developed a legitimate incarcerated hernia which required surgery prior to the event. As a result of Reigns being unable to compete, Rollins was declared the winner via forfeit. Reigns returned on 8th December episode of Raw, accepting a Slammy Award for Superstar of the Year. At TLC on 14th December, Reigns interfered during Rollins' match with John Cena, attacking Rollins and Big Show. This started a feud between Reigns and Big Show, in which Reigns defeated him multiple times by countout and disqualification. Reigns then entered the 2015 Royal Rumble match on 25th January, which he won after lastly eliminating Rusev, therefore granting him a WWE World Heavyweight Championship match at WrestleMania 31. After his victory, Reigns was jeered heavily by the crowd, despite portraying a heroic character. On 2nd February episode of Raw, Reigns suffered his first pinfall loss in singles competition on the main roster when Big Show defeated him after interference from Rollins. Reigns then successfully defended his WrestleMania title shot against Daniel Bryan at Fastlane on 22nd February. At WrestleMania 31 on 29th March, Seth Rollins cashed in his Money in the Bank contract while Reigns' main event match with Brock Lesnar was in progress, turning it into a triple threat match, which Reigns lost when he was pinned by Rollins. In April, Reigns resumed his feud with Big Show, which culminated on 26th April in a last man standing match at Extreme Rules, which Reigns won. On 17th May at Payback, Reigns failed to win the world title from Rollins in a fatal four-way match that also involved Orton and Ambrose. On 14th June at Money in the Bank, Reigns competed in his first Money in the Bank ladder match, which he failed to win after Bray Wyatt interfered and attacked him. On 17th July at Battleground, Wyatt defeated Reigns after Luke Harper interfered and attacked Reigns. He would enlist the help of Ambrose in order to take on the reformed Wyatt family, with the duo defeating Wyatt and Harper at SummerSlam on 23rd August. The following night on Raw, Reigns and Ambrose were attacked by Wyatt's new ally, the debuting Braun Strowman. On 20th September at Night of Champions, Reigns and Ambrose teamed with Chris Jericho, but were defeated by Wyatt, Harper and Strowman. The feud between Reigns and Wyatt ended at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view event on 25th October, where Reigns defeated Wyatt in a Hell in a Cell match. On 26th October episode of Raw, Reigns defeated Alberto Del Rio, Dolph Ziggler and Kevin Owens in a fatal four-way to become the #1 contender for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. However, champion Seth Rollins legitimately injured his knee on 4th November and vacated the title the following day, which led to a tournament to crown a new champion. Reigns defeated Big Show in the first round, Cesaro in the quarterfinals, Alberto Del Rio in the semifinals, and Dean Ambrose in the finals at Survivor Series on 22nd November to win the WWE World Heavyweight Championship for the first time. Immediately afterward, Sheamus cashed in his Money in the Bank contract and defeated Reigns, thus ending Reigns' reign at only 5 minutes. On 13 December, Reigns failed to regain the title from Sheamus in a tables, ladders and chairs match at TLC. Tables, ladders and chairs following interference by the League of Nations, Alberto Del Rio and Rusev, attacking Triple H in anger after the match. The next night on Raw, Vince McMahon granted Reigns a title rematch against Sheamus, under the stipulation that if Reigns lost, he would be forced to retire. Reigns managed to win after overcoming interferences from McMahon, Del Rio and Rusev, regaining the WWE World Heavyweight Championship in the process. McMahon then forced Reigns to defend his title in the 2016 Royal Rumble match on 24th January. In the match, Reigns was eliminated by Triple H, who won the match, thus losing the championship. At Fastlane on 22nd February, Reigns defeated Brock Lesnar and Dean Ambrose in a triple threat match to receive a WWE World Heavyweight Championship match against Triple H at WrestleMania 32 on 3rd April, where he defeated Triple H in the main event to become the WWE World Heavyweight Champion for a third time. After WrestleMania, Reigns began a feud with Art Styles and successfully defended the championship against him at Payback on 1st May and then again at Extreme Rules in an Extreme Rules match on 22nd May. After the latter match, Reigns was attacked by returning Seth Rollins. At Money in the Bank on 19th June, Reigns lost to Rollins, marking his first clean loss on the main roster and ending his reign at 77 days. On 21st June, Anoa'i was legitimately suspended by WWE for 30 days due to violating the WWE Wellness Program, WWE's internal drug testing program. Pro Wrestling Torch and The Wrap reported that WWE knew of Anoa'i's violation before the event, leading to Reigns being scripted to lose his world title at the event. On 19th July at the 2016 WWE Draft, Reigns was drafted to the Raw brand. Despite Reigns' suspension, WWE continued to advertise Reigns as part of the Battleground main event and went on to acknowledge Reigns' suspension on television. At Battleground on 24th July, Reigns made his televised return, facing Rollins and Dean Ambrose for the now renamed WWE Championship, which Ambrose won. The following night on Raw, Reigns also failed to contend for the newly announced WWE Universal Championship against Rollins at SummerSlam on 21st August, as he lost to the debuting Finn Balor in a qualifying match. In August, Reigns began a feud with United States champion Rusev, provoking a title match between the two at SummerSlam. At the event on 21st August, Reigns and Rusev brawled before the match began, leading to the match being declared a no contest. In a rematch at Clash of Champions on 25th September, Reigns would defeat Rusev to win the United States Championship and retain the title against Rusev in a Hell in a Cell match at the titular event on 30th October to end their feud. At Survivor Series on 20th November, Reigns made up part of Team Raw alongside Braun Strowman, Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens, and Seth Rollins in a losing effort to Team SmackDown. At Roadblock, End of the Line on 18th December, Reigns faced Owens for the Universal Championship, but lost via disqualification when Chris Jericho attacked Owens to prevent Reigns from winning the match and the title. On 9th January 2017 episode of Raw, Reigns lost the United States Championship to Jericho in a handicap match also involving Owens, ending his reign at 106 days. This led to a no disqualification rematch with Owens at the Royal Rumble on 29th January that saw Jericho being suspended above the ring in a shark cage, where Reigns lost after Braun Strowman interfered. Later in the event, Reigns entered at number 30 in the Royal Rumble match, eliminating Bray Wyatt, Chris Jericho and The Undertaker before being last eliminated by Randy Orton. At Fastlane on 5th March, Reigns defeated Strowman, giving Strowman his first pinfall loss on the main roster. The following night on Raw, Reigns was chokeslammed by The Undertaker after they both joined forces to attack Strowman. This led to a no-holds-barred match between Reigns and Undertaker at WrestleMania 33 on 2nd April, which Reigns won in his third consecutive WrestleMania main event. The next night on Raw, Reigns opened the show to 10 minutes of severe boos and chants from the crowd, attempting to stop him from speaking, before simply stating "This is my yard now" and leaving the ring. Reigns then resumed his feud with Strowman, after Strowman kayfabe injured Reigns' shoulder. A match was set up between the two at Payback on 30th April, which Reigns lost. The feud between the two was put on hold after Strowman legitimately injured his elbow. Reigns competed in a fatal 5-way match at Extreme Rules on 4th June against Bray Wyatt, Finn Balor, Samoa Joe and Seth Rollins, with the winner becoming the #1 contender for the Universal Championship. Joe would win the match after forcing Balor to pass out to a submission hold. On 19th June episode of Raw, Reigns was attacked by a returning Strowman, who challenged Reigns to an ambulance match at Great Balls of Fire on 9th July, which Reigns lost. At SummerSlam on 20th August, Reigns was pinned by Brock Lesnar in a Universal Championship match also involving Strowman and Joe. Following this, Reigns began a rivalry with John Cena, leading to a match at No Mercy on 24th September, which Reigns won. The next night on Raw, Reigns described his victory over Cena as the biggest win in his career. In October, due to mutual issues with The Miz, The Mysterio, Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel, and Cesaro and Sheamus, Reigns, Ambrose and Rollins decided to reform the Shield in order to combat the aforementioned alliance. Reigns was due to team with Rollins and Ambrose at TLC, Tables, Ladders and Chairs on 22nd October, but he was removed from the match due to an illness concern. He was replaced by Kurt Angle and the Shield went on to win the match. Reigns returned on 13th November episode of Raw and challenged The New Day, Big E, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods to a 6-man tag team match at Survivor Series. At the event on 19th November, the Shield emerged victorious over The New Day. The following night on Raw, Reigns defeated The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship, thus becoming the 20th Triple Crown and 17th Grand Slam champion, the second member of the Shield after Ambrose to achieve the Grand Slam. Following his title win, Reigns would successfully defend the title against Elias, Jason Jordan, Cesaro and Samoa Joe before losing it back to The Miz on the 25th anniversary of Raw on 22nd January 2018, ending his reign at 63 days. Reigns competed in the 2018 Royal Rumble match on 28th January, but was the last participant eliminated by eventual winner Shinsuke Nakamura. After defeating Bray Wyatt on 5th February episode of Raw, Reigns qualified for the Elimination Chamber match, which he won, earning the right to face Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship at WrestleMania 34. At WrestleMania on 8th April, Reigns failed to win the championship from Lesnar. They had a rematch for the championship at the Greatest Royal Rumble on 27th April, this time in a steel cage match, which Reigns narrowly lost after spearing Lesnar through the cage wall. After defeating Samoa Joe at Backlash on 6th May and Jinder Mahal at Money in the Bank on 17th June, Reigns then entered a feud with Bobby Lashley, where both men believed that they were the rightful challenger to Lesnar's championship. This set up a match at Extreme Rules on 15th July, where Lashley was victorious. The following night on Raw, 2 triple threat matches were set to determine Lesnar's challenger for SummerSlam. Reigns and Lashley won their respective matches, setting up a #1 contenders match between the two the following week, which Reigns won. At SummerSlam on 19th August, Reigns defeated Lesnar and won the Universal Championship for the first time in his career. Reigns went on to reignite his feud with Braun Strowman, who was the Money in the Bank holder. Strowman would also ally himself with Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre in order to challenge the Shield. Reigns then faced Strowman at Hell in a Cell on 16 September in a Hell in a Cell match, which ended in a no contest after Brock Lesnar returned and attacked both men. On 6 October at Super Showdown, the Shield defeated Strowman, Ziggler and McIntyre in a 6-man tag team match before losing to them in a rematch on Raw 2 nights later. A triple threat match between Reigns, Strowman and Lesnar for the Universal Championship was scheduled for the Crown Jewel event. However, On 22nd October, Reigns relinquished the title and announced his hiatus on Raw, revealing that his leukemia had returned after 11 years of privately battling it and being in remission. Following this announcement, Reigns would go on an indefinite hiatus to receive treatment. Reigns was first diagnosed in May 2007 when he was signed to the Minnesota Vikings and went into remission around 2 years after the initial diagnosis. On 25th February 2019, Reigns made his return to Raw, revealing that his leukemia was once again in remission to a huge ovation from the crowd. Later in the night, Reigns and Rollins would appear to assist Ambrose from an attack by Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley, Elias, and Baron Corbin. The following week on Raw, Ambrose assisted Reigns and Rollins from another attack by the four, before the trio performed their signature pose, officially reuniting the group for the third time. The Shield defeated the team of McIntyre, Lashley, and Corbin at Fastlane on 10th March. On 25th March episode of Raw, Reigns accepted a challenge from McIntyre for a match at WrestleMania 35. At the event on 7th April, Reigns was successful in defeating McIntyre. During the 2019 WWE Superstar Shake-up, Reigns was drafted to the SmackDown brand on 16th April episode of SmackDown, with WWE's announcers describing Reigns as SmackDown's greatest ever acquisition, as well as the future of SmackDown and WWE. During the episode, Reigns attacked Elias and Vince McMahon. The following week, Elias challenged Reigns to a match at Money in the Bank on 19th May, which Reigns accepted and also won. On 20th May episode of Raw, Reigns, who appeared via the wild card rule, was interrupted by Shane McMahon, who was still bothered by Reigns' earlier attack on his father. Reigns then challenged Shane to a match at Super Showdown, which the latter accepted. At Super Showdown on 7th June, Reigns lost to McMahon after interference from McIntyre. Reigns defeated McIntyre at Stomping Grounds on 23rd June, despite interference from McMahon. The following night on Raw, Reigns was saved by The Undertaker from an assault from McMahon and McIntyre. Reigns and Undertaker teamed up to defeat McMahon and McIntyre in a no-holds-barred tag team match at Extreme Rules on 14th July. On 30th July episode of SmackDown, an unidentified person pushed lighting equipment on Reigns. The following week, Reigns was again targeted by the attacker, as he was a victim of a hit and run. After ruling out Samoa Joe and Buddy Murphy as suspects, Reigns next investigated Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan due to testimony from Murphy and seemingly incriminating video footage. However, Bryan revealed the attacker as a man who merely resembled Rowan. Nonetheless, Reigns found additional footage that showed Rowan pushing over the equipment. Rowan then admitted that it was him and admitted that he was responsible for the hit and run as well. This caused Bryan and Rowan to split due to Rowan lying, and a no disqualification match between Reigns and Rowan was scheduled for Clash of Champions on 15 September, which Rowan won after interference from a returning Luke Harper. Reigns would later defeat Rowan in a lumberjack match on the 20th anniversary of SmackDown and subsequently team with Bryan to defeat Rowan and Harper at Hell in a Cell on 6th October in a Tornado Tag Team match to end the feud. At Crown Jewel on 31st October, Reigns was part of Team Hogan, alongside Rusev, Ricochet, Shorty G, and Ali, defeating Team Flair, Randy Orton, King Corbin, Bobby Lashley, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Drew McIntyre. In November, Reigns began a feud with King Corbin and his allies Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. Reigns was named team captain for SmackDown at Survivor Series on 24th November, where he and his four teammates defeated Team Raw and Team NXT in a 5-on-5-on-5 tag team elimination match. During the match, Corbin caused Mustafa Ali to be eliminated. Reigns responded by spearing Corbin and allowing him to be eliminated. This led to a tables, ladders, and chairs match being arranged for the TLC pay-per-view on 15th December, which Reigns lost after interference from Ziggler and the Revival, Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson. At the Royal Rumble on 26th January 2020, Reigns defeated Corbin in a Falls Count Anywhere match after receiving assistance from the Usos. Later that night, he entered the Royal Rumble match, but was the last competitor eliminated by the eventual winner Drew McIntyre. At Super Showdown on 27th February, Reigns defeated Corbin in a steel cage match to end their feud. The following night on SmackDown, Reigns challenged Goldberg for the Universal Championship, leading to a match between the two being set up for WrestleMania 36. However, on 3rd April, it was announced that Braun Strowman would replace Reigns at the event, after Reigns pulled out of the event amid concerns surrounding the COVID-19 pandemic and his being immunocompromised from his leukemia. Following WrestleMania, Reigns continued to remain absent from WWE programming in the midst of the pandemic, telling Hindustan Times, "For me, I just had to make a choice for my family. The company, WWE, has done everything that they can to make it the safest work environment possible. It is not the workplace that I was necessarily concerned about. The decision was taken mainly because each performer travels so much, and we are all such a diverse group and from all over the place. I'm not convinced, and I can't trust the fact that everybody is taking it as seriously and locking themselves down at home like I am. I trust my life with my coworkers every time I step foot in the ring, but I just can't put the same trust when it has my children, my wife, and my family involved." Reigns returned at SummerSlam on 23rd August, attacking the new Universal Champion The Fiend Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman after their match for the title. On the following SmackDown, Reigns aligned himself with his new manager, Paul Heyman, turning heel for the first time since 2014. At Payback on 30th August, Reigns defeated defending champion The Fiend and Strowman to win the Universal Championship for the second time. Reigns then began a rivalry with his cousin Jey Uso. In his first championship defense at Clash of Champions on 27 September, Reigns retained the title against Jey Uso by technical knockout, after Reigns viciously beat down Jey and Jimmy Uso threw in the towel. After this, Reigns granted Jey a rematch at the Hell in a Cell event, and the match was later confirmed as a Hell in a Cell match, with the added stipulation of being an I Quit match. At Hell in a Cell on 25th October, Reigns made Jey quit after attacking the injured Jimmy, thus retaining his title. Due to the loss, Jey was ordered to follow Reigns' commands and address him as the tribal chief, thus turning him into a villainous character. At Survivor Series on 22nd November, Reigns defeated Raw's WWE Champion Drew McIntyre in a Champion vs. Champion match, before beginning a feud with Kevin Owens, after Reigns believed Owens to be disrespecting his family. Reigns successfully defended the title against Owens in a TLC match at TLC, Tables, Ladders and Chairs on 20th December and in a last man standing match at the Royal Rumble on 31st January 2021, respectively. Reigns then retained his title against Daniel Bryan at both Elimination Chamber on 21st February and Fastlane on 21st March. At this time, Reigns would also feud with Edge, who had won the Royal Rumble match. In the main event of the second night of WrestleMania 37 on 11th April, Reigns defeated Bryan and Edge in a triple threat match to retain the Universal Championship after assistance from Jey. On 30th April episode of SmackDown, Reigns defeated Bryan in a championship vs. career match, which resulted in Bryan being forced to leave SmackDown. Reigns' next challenger for the championship was Cesaro, whom Reigns defeated at WrestleMania Backlash on 16th May. Afterwards, Reigns initiated a rivalry with Rey Mysterio, after Reigns brutalized Mysterio's son Dominic. The two faced off for the championship in a Hell in a Cell match on 18th June episode of SmackDown, with Reigns emerging as the victor. On 25th June episode of SmackDown, while addressing his victory over Mysterio, Reigns was attacked by the returning Edge, leading to a title match between the two at Money in the Bank on 18th July, where Reigns retained with the assistance of Seth Rollins. After the match, Reigns was confronted by returning John Cena. Over the following weeks, Cena challenged Reigns for a title match at SummerSlam, and after initially rejecting Cena's challenge, a match was made official for the two at the event. At the event on 21st August, Reigns defeated Cena to retain the title. Immediately after the match, Reigns would be confronted by returning Brock Lesnar. At Extreme Rules on 26 September, Reigns defeated Finn Balor to retain the championship. On 21st October, at Crown Jewel, Reigns successfully defended his title against Brock Lesnar, again with the help of the Usos. On 8th November, it was announced that Reigns would face WWE Champion Big E at Survivor Series, with Reigns emerging victorious at the event on 21st November. On 17th December episode of SmackDown, Reigns fired Heyman as his manager due to Heyman's past association with Lesnar. Reigns was scheduled to defend his title against Lesnar at the Day 1 event on 1st January 2022, but the match was cancelled as a result of Reigns testing positive for COVID-19. On 16th January, Reigns surpassed Lesnar's 503-day reign to become the longest reigning Universal Champion, in turn having the sixth longest World Championship reign in the company's history. On 29th January at the Royal Rumble event, Reigns defended the championship against Seth freaking Rollins, losing the match by disqualification. However, championships cannot change hands by disqualification, thus Reigns retained the title. Later that same night, he interfered in the WWE Championship match between Lesnar and Bobby Lashley, reuniting with Heyman to cause the upset victory for Lashley to regain the championship. On 4th February episode of SmackDown, Goldberg would make his return to challenge Reigns to a match at Elimination Chamber for the title, a match 2 years in the making after their match at WrestleMania 36 was called off due to Reigns taking a hiatus. At the event on 21st February, Reigns defeated Goldberg via technical submission to retain the title. On the second night of WrestleMania 38 on 3rd April, he defeated Brock Lesnar to win the WWE Championship for a fourth time and also became the first superstar to hold both the WWE Championship and WWE Universal Championship simultaneously. On 17th June episode of SmackDown, Reigns successfully defended the undisputed WWE Universal Championship against Riddle. However, after the match he was attacked by a returning Brock Lesnar to renew their rivalry and set up a last man standing match at SummerSlam on 30th July, in which Reigns won, ending their 7-year feud. At Clash at the Castle on 3rd September, Reigns successfully retained the titles against Drew McIntyre following interference from the debuting solo Sikoa. Personal life. Anoa'i married Galina Joel Becker in early December 2014. The couple met in 2006 while they both studied at Georgia Institute of Technology. They reside in Tampa, Florida. Their first child, daughter Joel, was born in 2008 and appeared with Anoa'i in a PSA in June 2014. Anoa'i and Becker had twin boys in 2016, followed by another set of twins in 2020. Anoa'i considers Bret Hart his wrestling idol. On 30th December 2015, at a WWE house show, Anoa'i had his nose broken during his match against Sheamus. He underwent nasal reconstructive surgery 2 months after the injury, which altered the appearance of his nose. Anoa'i tested positive for COVID-19 in December 2021, leading to his match at WWE Day 1 being cancelled a few hours before its scheduled time. Subscribe and press bell icon. Leave your feedback in comment section.